A little bit of content here for you on housing supply, which has been a very hot topic in the Canadian real estate industry and something I don't see changing anytime soon, but looking at it from the perspective of current market dynamics and also what we might expect going forward. So right now, what we're seeing is a relatively balanced market. And I think the biggest reason for that is just the constraint in supply, the lack of listings, which becomes somewhat of a self-fueling cycle. And I had this conversation with a dad at my son's soccer practice last night who was looking to upsize into a home with his family, and he simply can't find anything that checks all the boxes. And I said, well, have you listed your place yet? And he said, no, why would I? And I think that's ultimately what we're dealing with here is if you as a seller can't find something to buy, why would you list your place and then struggle to find something to buy or be forced in maybe a less than ideal situation or have to rent it? And so that piece is self-reinforcing to an extent. And I think another reason is during the pandemic, we borrowed a lot of transactions in 2020 and 2021 from future years. And we're seeing a lack of urgency, I think, on seller sides because when interest rates were really low, anyone who was thinking about buying a home took advantage of that and made that happen. So I think just the urgency level on average is much lower than what you might normally expect in a spring market. From the buyer side of things, demand is strong. We've had a number of clients, in the last week, three of them, experience trying to buy in a multiple offer situation. One was one of 12. So I think buyers are getting used to these higher interest rates, and these transactions do have to happen. So they will, but I think the supply side, the inventory is become the biggest constraint for our current real estate market. So. And going forward, that's just not something that's likely to change. I mean, supply is a hard issue to solve long term. It takes a coordinated level of effort at all levels of government to grease the wheels. That whether that's community planning, whether that's financial incentives from federal and provincial governments, whether that's permitting, whatever the case might be, it takes all levels working at towards the same goal to achieve that outcome. And it's not something where you can snap your fingers and put 1 million housing units on the market. It takes time. So the demand side is easier to focus on where we've seen policy, but long term, look at the number of new Canadians we're welcoming on an annual basis. Those Canadians aren't bringing their homes with them on their backs. So in all likelihood, we're going to experience another housing supply crunch at some point in the foreseeable future. So, it's an interesting dynamic that we're all going to have a front row seat to watch play out. So, but if you have any questions on how this might impact you in your decision making, you want to chat about it, by all means, reach out. We'd be happy to help.